Hello again, this is Victor from KaizenPoker.com, and this is the second chapter, the basics of winning at the tables. Okay, so let me brief you on the technicals that are needed to win at the cash game tables. The first point is representing. So think about it in this way: then you're playing a hand, then they're your opponents, and your opponents are going to be always thinking about what kind of a hand you hold. So you have to think that okay, I'm not playing a particular hand. You may see your hand, but to win the most money, you have to imagine that you know what the other person is thinking about your hand. If you are playing face up, you bet from early position, and the flop has an ace, a 7 and a deuce, and then you again bet the flop holding AK. Your opponent will easily able to gauge that okay, this person is having an ace. So to win the max money, you have to be tricky. Like sometimes when you don't hit and you bet and you imply that you're holding, a particular hand, and you get the other person to fold his strong hand, that's winning poker. Okay, so the second point is it's a money losing game. Okay, anytime you buy in at the table and then you hope to win money, you can never be sure that you will be gaining money. If you are an extremely good player, then of course you will have much more winning sessions, but you have to remember it is a money losing game and you have to prepare that way, and take profits whenever you can. This is for all new players and all break even players. Unless you are an extremely strong player, and that's a rare person, you have to take profits whenever you can, and you have to be basically be wary of having too much money on the table when everyone is playing tight. So it's better to get up from the table. If you don't think there's any a couple of bad players, just get up from the table. Okay, so the next point is advantage of image. uh, Anytime you sit at the table, you're having an image. Every player is having an image. Some players that start playing very bad are going to have the image of a very bad player, and other players are going to take advantage of them by either bluffing them, or when they have very strong holdings, then they will slow play so that the bad player or the tilted player is basically goes over the top and loses much more. Okay, so the next point is that tight image gathers respect. If you're having a tight image, then other players are going to not mess much with you. They are not going to bluff you, and anytime you raise, they are going to put you on a premium holding. This is because they think that you will start with a very good hand, and you are likely strong when you have. Okay, so the next is, you already know you have to play from position and control the pot size by not betting out of position. Then 3 bet versus a loose aggressive player with premium hand. Okay, so there's a loose aggressive player that has acted before you, and for example, he has made a small bet, or he has slimmed. uh, so such a kind of player you can 3-bet, so that you isolate him and you will be playing with him, and other players are not going to get in the hand, and that increases your equity. Then you have to remember that you cannot always win every hand, every session you can't win. Then with one pair, two pair hands, which are very easy, you know, to not be good at showdown, you have to build very small pots. If you have a pair of kings, don't bet every street. Try to bet the minimum, whatever gets the work done, that much you should do. And if the pot starts getting bigger, you have to muck it. Okay, so folding is better than calling. Okay, so anytime you have an option between folding your hand and calling, folding is always best. And I rightly believe that players on average do not fold as much as they should, and if they fold much more, then they are going to save themselves from bad spots, and they are going to be much more profitable in the long run. Okay, play lines that mean something. Now this means that say you cannot always play your own cards. You have to play lines that mean something, because unless you are doing that, you can never be a very strong winning player. So sometimes you will need to bluff two versus a single opponent when he shows a lot of weakness. Then you can pretend that you hit the draw, or you hit the flush, and that too you need to be very cautious. In a live game you have to read opponents well. Okay, so on a full table, play tighter. Okay, when there are too many players that have seen the flop, you have to assume the showdown strength of hands is going to be very, very strong. On a full table, you have to again play a very tight range, otherwise you will lose money. Okay, this is you already know, you can't call if you can't raise. This is a standard rule. Like if you just keep on calling, trying to chase cards, trying to chase your draws, you are going to lose money. Then try to set mine with a deep stack. Okay, you get a beautiful pair of 7s, 6s, 10s, and you have a mid and short stack, and there are a couple of players in the hand. And if you start calling, about 15 or 20% of your stack, then you're going to lose a lot of money very quickly, and that you won't be able to regain it, and that's a money losing play. Then this hand, AK offsuit and JJ, they are very weak hands. Let me be frank with you. Unless you hit a set with jacks, or unless you have a top pair with AK offsuit on a dry board, you can't continue beyond the flop. And you must never go all in a cash game with these kind of hands. Okay, so play at stakes where money does not mean much to you. Anytime you play at a stake where money is dear to you, at that time you are gambling. Always drop down the stakes, and anytime you are playing at a stakes where you can afford to take risks, you are not playing scared money. So that's real poker. Know the odds well and play plus CV game. Without knowing the odds, without able to compute the odds, like your equity in the hand, your pot odds, you have no business playing poker, because today's games are extremely tough. And don't just rely on 4-2 rule. You have to compute the error of 4-2 rule as well, because sometimes you may think, okay, you have about 67 or 70% equity, but actually your equity is much closer to 50-52%. So you need to be aware of that. Hand reading is important. Okay, anytime you're in a hand with a single opponent or with two opponents, you must always think about the range they are playing, what kind of holding they may have, because unless you are paying attention to that, you can't win in today's games. Never martingale. Okay, so you lose couple of binds and then you think, okay, I'm going to bind twice as much and I'm going to recover all my money. That's a very wrong strategy, and that always brings losses at both the poker table, roulette or blackjack or any other casino game. Okay, so now we get to the basics of money management. If you're playing poker to win money, then you have to build profits and then play with profits. If losses are happening, then just quit the game and figure out where you're making mistakes, drop down the stakes, and build from the smaller stakes. If you're having trouble winning live, then go to online, go to the smaller stakes, slowly build profits. And there are players who have built bankrolls by just playing free rolls. So you should never put your hard-earned money in poker or get a big bankroll with hard-earned money for poker, because the chance of losing it is very high. Okay, and another rule is don't take too much money to casino cards, because you may lose it all. Take only that much that you are comfortable losing in a poker game or casino. Okay, so the next point is I have seen a lot of players follow this strategy. Okay, they get one buy-in of say $200 or $400, and when they double it, they quit. And let me tell you, that's a very wrong strategy. The right strategy is to at least win 2 times of your buy-in and then only leave. And you should maintain a journal and put down all the losses or profits, and with lessons learned, emotional state, and health, fitness at the time of playing, or any other problems you had. For example, you got too tired and the session became too long, you have to put that. And then you need to factor in your emotional state, like do you tilt, and what happens when you tilt, and why do you tilt, do you gamble with too much money, or so that you need to factor in. Okay, now finally we come to the life management basics. It's always best to have a secondary outdoor activity, like you play some game or go to gym, or you do swimming. And like if you have a job, then of course you're not going to have much time, and it's always best to go on holidays. And don't try to go every day to the casino or card room, because every session you have to be concentrated completely. If you're not concentrated, focused, if you're not sharp at the table, then the chances of losing are very high. Then try to go just on Friday and Sunday initially and build some profits, and then take out your hard-earned money and then play with profits. Then play an easy tight game. Don't take too much risk. Don't play a very fancy game of 3 betting light and bluffing a lot, then forcing other player to fold. Because players nowadays are reading other players very well. They know, okay, what kind of holding he's having, what range he will hold, and they keep on seeing what you are doing at the table. So don't play too fancy game initially, and that's for cash tables, because generally the regs what they are doing are just sitting at the tables, passing their time, waiting for tourist or recreational players to come donate money to them, and much fancy plays, like Tom Dwandas or Patrick Antonius or whatever happens in those high stakes games that you watch on TV. Just don't do that. Try to be as friendly as you can at the table and talk with other players, so it will be very easy to pass the long sessions that you'll be having at cash game tables. If you're playing online, of course you can't have that kind of social aspect, uh, but of course the more friendly you are, the more you will like the game, the more you will like the social interaction that happens. And try to take like long walks and all after session or before session, whatever helps. Then chill out after session, because uh, like I will tell you, when I used to have poker sessions in live, I would go out with friends and then spend couple of hours with them, and just chill out. And that way, when you take off uh, steam. So any questions you may be having, you can you can get back to me.